one of my favorite quotes I was ever told was from my music professor before I graduated. And he said, "My job is to teach, and that's first. The subject is music."
Hey there, como se va and que pasa? Welcome to In the Pocket with J-Bo, and I'm your host, Seth Boudoin. Joining us today as my co-host, and for the first time having a co-host, is a great friend and is none other than the man whose motto is
every day is a celebration.
Right on, Mr. Astro Joe Garcia. How you doing, Joe?
Feeling good. Glad to have the honor to be your first co-host for the new season coming up. So
You better believe it. This is actually season 2, episode 1. Today's episode features a gentleman that it's all about the music. He graduated from Holy Cross High School in New Orleans in 2018, where he was in the Holy Cross Band Drumline and on the golf team. He graduated with a Bachelor of Music Education from Louisiana State University in 2023. He was a member of the LSU Drumline playing quads in the Golden Band from Tigerland and was a drumline captain his senior year. He was also in the Fat City Drum Corps, which is the drumline of the New Orleans Saints. He is currently the band director at Wray High School in Wray, Colorado. His hobbies are cooking, arranging, composing music, and golf. Please welcome to my podcast, my youngest son, Mr. Seth Warren Boudoin.
Hi there.
Hey. Seth was born in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and raised in Gretna on the West Bank of New Orleans. He is married to my wonderful daughter-in-law, Annalise, also a former member of the Golden Band from Tigerland, and they now reside in Wray, Colorado. She was a piccolo player. Today, we're going to talk to Seth about how he became a band director and the challenges and rewards that he experienced on that journey. So welcome to the show, Seth.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to finally be here. It only took the season.
Yeah, it's about time we get you, and about time we get a co-host on this show. Today's episode is sponsored by the Houston Hangout, which is an Astro Joe production under his Substack, which you can find at astrojoegarcia.com. Seth, as a custom we have here on In the Pocket with J-Bo, I like to ask my guests a few icebreaker type questions just to get the mood kind of flowing right. Okay. So as the late, great Jackie Gleason would say, Joe, and I know you know this, and away we go. So first question, who is your favorite old school music group?
God, if you were to ask me this a couple years ago, I'd be able to tell you Van Halen right off the bat, but then I've been introduced to so many other good bands these days that there's so many that I love.
Like old school,
yeah,
then,
You can always watch me going back and listening to Stevie Nicks, and oh God, I'm blanking on her band.
So Fleetwood Mac is what you're saying?
Fleetwood Mac. You could always hear me going back to Fleetwood Mac. I could hear one or two songs from like every band, and I'll have like one or two that I don't like. Fleetwood Mac, I have to choose them. There's not a single one that I dislike from them. Love their music, so I would say they're my favorite.
I think you like old Earth, Wind and Fire too, don't you?
Oh, I love Earth, Wind, and Fire, of course.
Yeah.
But it's just a different kind of mood. It depends on whatever mood I'm in. If I'm in a different mood, different music for different moods. But I love Earth, Wind, and Fire because if I want to like truly just like kind of groove for a while, or if I want to like, I wish I could go to I feel like if I were at a club back in the 80s and 90s and Earth, Wind, and Fire started playing, I feel like it would be the most fun time we could ever have. It just depends on the.
Yep. Fair enough question. Fair enough answer. There never is a wrong answer, though, Jay. When you get a question like that, there's no right or wrong. What works today might not be the same thing tomorrow. It's all about the mood. So I like that.
No doubt. If you really want to impress Joe, Seth, tell him who the lead singers are for Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, Maurice White and Philip Bailey.
How about that, Joe?
Hey, Jeopardy just gave him the $100 question. Looks good. $100, Jay.
I love it. Okay, second question. What is one of your favorite movies that you've watched recently? A movie that you watched and you're like, man, this is pretty good. What would you recommend to people?
Like watch for the first time, or what if I rewatch something recently?
As we say, Joe, it's up to you, right?
Dealer's choice.
Well, let's see. I'll answer both then. Well, just recently I showed Annalise Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and you know what? It still holds up. It still holds up. It's still a funny movie, and it's a great movie. But if it's a new movie I watched recently, honestly, I finally watched Castaway for the first time a couple months ago.
Man,
thanks. And that is a really, really good movie. That was a powerful movie.
Powerful movie.
Yeah. I love Tom Hanks was an amazing actor in that movie, and it really knew how to pull your heartstrings that entire time. Loved it. That's a movie I would recommend for some people if they've never seen.
And Joe, who was his co-star in that one?
What was the name of his soccer ball? That was his co-star. Wilson, there we go.
Yeah,
Wilson.
Wilson.
It was the Wilson soccer ball. The Wilson soccer ball.
Volleyball, yeah.
The volleyball soccer
ball. The volleyball, that's it.
The volleyball.
With the blood handprint.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Man, that was a great movie. I really enjoyed that one. I will say that's definitely in my top 10, without a doubt.
Really?
Without a doubt. Oh, yeah. I love that movie. I love at the end of the movie when he comes to that crossroads, when he looks like he's in the middle of Kansas or something, and the young lady drives by in the truck and, how you doing, cowboy? And he was returning the package, and he just looked on the map, and he's like, he has every advantage in life at that point to go whatever direction he wants to go. And I love that part of the movie. It was just pretty cool, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the lady said, if you go all the way down this road, you'll be in Texas. But if you go down this way for a couple miles, you'll be in California. And you say it looks like they're in the middle of Kansas. I don't know. It looks kind of like my backyard from where they were.
So,
movie magic.
Right.
Yeah, movie magic, brother.
A lot of kind of like those wasteland types things. But I love it. So
good stuff. All right, Seth, your favorite question. If you could go back in time and have a conversation with anyone, and they would want to have a conversation with you, who would it be and why?
You're lucky that I came up with an answer about 2 minutes ago. So at LSU, there was a man there named Frank Wicks. Frank Wicks was the band director, like the director of bands and everything over the LSU Wind Ensemble back in the 80s and 90s. And he was a huge name. And that is the man that is kind of like accredited to giving all of LSU's culture with music is mostly attributed to Frank Wicks. And he just died about 3 or 4 years ago. He was a great man.
Yeah, he sure did.
He would always show up to the band camps and talk to us. And I feel like every time I heard him talk, it was the most like inspiring musical comment I've ever heard of. And just thinking like, I would have thought about that in 1,000 years. And he can just, and I watched him like fix things constantly whenever he was listening to the band. He'd just make a very quick comment that no one else heard, but he heard. He's like, the third row clarinet in Tiger Band is a little sharp. Third from the left. He'll be able to pinpoint it exactly. And it was crazy how good he was. And I would love to talk with him just to see what his process is, his mental process of understanding music and how it's gotten to where it is today.
Joe does that with our band. Because if there's an off note or something like that, Joe will instantly turn his head and look, not in a negative way, but in a supportive, nurturing way. It's like, hey, that wasn't right.
No,
and I get most of the looks.
No, actually, I do the same thing. I'll be conducting, and then if like the second I hear something, I look. And it's not just when I'm teaching. I'll be anywhere, and I'll be listening to live music. I hear a wrong note, and I'll look up.
It's just a reflex that you get. You're not like, oh my God, what happened? It's just like, just draws your attention because like everything is sounding so in sync, and then you're like, wait a minute, move on, right? So
yeah.
Joe, what do we always say? Just keep playing.
Yeah, I know we're gonna get into all that, when we get to that point. But yeah, that's the whole thing about the journey we're on for all these things.
This 6'7" man shows up behind you with his arms crossed like this and says, "Play," and you have to play it right. So I'll say that he was a scary man back in his day. I've heard horror stories.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine, to do what he did and excel as much as he did for as long as he did. And to me, at that level, it's a high exposure, high pressure, even for him too, everybody's looking at you, 100,000 people. Yeah. That's your audience, so
he had amazing. A standard and he made sure it was met. And that was a very, very high standard that he kept.
I know that's an inspiration to you.
What did you enjoy most about when he came to speak to the group? What did you get out of his conversation with your group?
I just felt kind of like supported. He had been retired, and he was, I don't remember how old he was. He was in his 80s, I believe. But he would get up at like 7 a.m. to come see us at band camp and talk to us and just give us some nice motivating words about what we can do to sound better, but not just that. Like, it was encouraging. It was always uplifting when we would see Frank.
And Joe, that's at LSU in Baton Rouge during August. So for that, that gentleman to go out there with that kind of temperature out there, that's pretty awesome, Seth. That's great, man. I love the answer there, and I'm glad you had a feeling it was coming. So I'm glad you were prepared for that one. So let's transition, if we can. Talk to us a little bit about where you grew up as a kid and things that you did and you enjoyed doing when you were just as a kid back in the
Well, you answered the first question. I grew up on the West Bank around Gretna. Let's see. So I remember I used to have this scooter that I used to always ride around in the front. When we lived on Holyoke, I used to go always and hang out with the boys down the street, like Harrison and Connor and Cole and all of them. But honestly, when I was on the younger side, I kind of kept to myself a little bit more. I was a lot more shy than what I am even when I was in high school. I was a lot more kind of reserved as a little kid. It wasn't until I got into high school where I started kind of really getting confident enough to like reach out to people, find new friends, find new things to do, find new hobbies, and finding drums and then like being in golf as well helped out a lot because it gave me a social activity. It's just I didn't really start to find that confidence with doing those sort of things until I was in high school. Growing up, like I remember some of my favorite things in the world was Legos. Always had Legos, and I put them together extremely quickly. I thought I was going to want to be an engineer when I grew up because of how much
I sure did.
So.
Yeah, I can see that.
Who were some of your more influential teachers that you had in elementary school?
Elementary school? Are we talking like St. Cletus time or Holy Cross
time?
Yes,
St. Cletus time mainly.
God, have me remember half those teachers. Let's see.
I know one lady in particular I'm thinking about.
Yeah, well, there was Miss Pat, for starters.
Miss Pat Schneider. Yep. Joe, absolutely wonderful lady who loves Seth, man.
Yeah. I actually was
a wonderful lady.
Teacher, but she was more of a counselor at the school a little bit. Not a counselor.
Yeah.
She kind of just did like a para kind of things. Used to teach religion class, but I think my brother had her as a religion teacher at one point. But no, I loved Miss Pat. She was always the nicest to us, and every time I walk in, she's like, "Come here, my baby," and stuff like that.
You talk about kept up with Seth during his time at LSU and everything, man. She went to his high school graduation and everything. Just a wonderful lady.
I guess, Seth, you mentioned Mr. Wicks. Was there anybody at that level in your younger years that influenced or ignited something for your passion for music, or how did the passion for music come about from your younger days?
Not so much later. At St. Cletus, I really didn't do anything with music at St. Cletus. I didn't start band until I was in 5th grade at Holy Cross. So when I went to Holy Cross, you were required to do an art. So it was like either band or choir or art classes. And my dad, he wanted me to join band. So he's like, all right, pick an instrument. And I just said, okay, drums. Just the first thing that popped in my head. Absolutely no planning. There was no motivation towards that answer. There's no story. It was just the first thing that popped up in my head.
Amazing.
So I started playing in percussion in beginning band in 5th grade with Katie Codina as my band director. But when about my 6th grade year, a man started working there as like an assistant to Katie, and his name was Ronald Knowlting. Yeah. And Mr. Knowlting is the person that kickstarted me with everything and all my passion for percussion and music.
Wonderful guy.
I loved working with him, and he left my 8th grade year, and I was heartbroken, but he was leaving for his best interest because he had just gotten married. I think his wife was pregnant, and all of his family was up north, so they both went up north.
They had to get the family help over there. That makes sense. But
right
before he left, he gave you the seed. And the seed was planted, and he inspired you. So he did his job as a music person, as a music creative. So I'm sure that has influenced you in more than you even know from what it looks like to me, right?
Oh, I love Mr. Nolting. He taught me like almost everything I learned in high school, like all the basics, everything basic that I ever learned always all came from Mr. Nolting.
Yeah, and that's the important part, is building a good foundation, because those are some of the things that people take for granted sometimes. As for the music side of things, I always say, what you're doing, you make things look easy to your students, right? You go up there like, he knows there. How does he know all this? He just knows. He knows what to tell us what to do. And people on the outside looking in don't realize that it's taken you years to get to this level, from just playing on the old drum pad to learning all the arrangements and time signatures and all these other things that they're second nature in your head, but it did take time to absorb those. So hearing these things about people who influence you to dig a little bit deeper, those are the things that people don't always see. They just see the 5 minutes. They see the success. They're like, oh, he's a great success. He's done well. But in the meanwhile, 50,000 things had to happen right before that. So,
oh yeah, it was
right?
a very, very, you can ask my dad, very long road to get here.
Right. Most definitely.
Yeah, it was a very loud and noisy road too.
Well, I can tell you, when Seth had a drum kit in our garage when he was in elementary school, I think Seth, Seth started Holy Cross School in 5th grade. He went to St. Cletus Elementary from kindergarten to 4th grade. But when he started in 5th grade going on, he had a drum kit in the garage, Joe. And he used to play, in one of our neighbors, Mike Bergeron would come over, Uncle Mike. And man, that boy's beating on them drums all the time. And then when we'll talk about this a little later, but boy, he was so proud of Seth at what he advanced to in his career and everything. But I'd see Mike later on in years. He's like, man, that's that little kid that used to beat on those drums all the time.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, I mean, Seth, I know that was your younger journey, your younger influences. So you have the shirt on, and we know you're a recent legend at LSU. So what was the story for how did you choose LSU? Did LSU pull you in? Tell us how you got to make the decision and how you got in on the ground floor. How did all that story unfold?
So let's back up a second, because let's go back to the high school years, Joe, because that set the pace for what he's going to do with LSU.
Gotcha.
Because you'll be interested in this. So Seth, talk about your high school years at Holy Cross and being on the drum line there, and who a couple of your major influences were at that time.
So I was playing cymbals and mallet instruments on the front ensemble my first couple years, my first 2 years of Holy Cross band. I liked percussion. I did it on the side, but I wasn't like big on percussion at that point yet. I played bass drum my 3rd year. This is a 5-year, so it starts in 8th grade. So my sophomore year, I played. I was playing bass drum, but my friend Jake Murillo was playing tenors at Holy Cross or quads at that time, and I asked him to teach me how to play because I just kind of got bored, and he just started sending me. He would send me videos, and I'd be like, and he'd teach me how to play. I would borrow a practice pad from the school until I got my own, and I just start learning how to play on those. I would do all these things, and then he ended up leaving Holy Cross the next year to go to Brother Martin,
a rival high school, Joe, in the Catholic League in New Orleans.
Yeah, and Brother Martin is very well known for their drum line, and I actually got a funny point about that later, actually. But I think Dad already knows the point I'm going to make later about.
I know.
Brother Martin is extremely well known for their drum line because they had an old drumming legend in the drum. You mentioned the name Marty Hurley to any percussionist, and they'll know exactly who it is. He was one of the most influential percussionists and drummers in probably America's history, especially with his leaning on the basics, his big contribution to the community, which is like the rope drums and the big like drums on a slant and stuff that they used back in the Army days.
Yeah.
So he was the teacher over there. Anyway, he wanted to go learn at that school. So I was left at Holy Cross as the only quad player because he had taught me, so I was the new quad player. And he introduced me to a man named Thomas Dean, who ended up giving me lessons. And Thomas, basically, if Mr. Nolting was my percussion teacher in middle school, Thomas was my teacher in high school. And he took me from like here to here.
Amazing.
He was what I needed. And
yeah,
he wasn't just influential with percussion. He was just influential as like a teacher and just a genuinely decent person, like a really, really good man.
Yeah, Thomas graduated from John Curtis High School in New Orleans, Joe. And he was one of the first people in his family going to college. He went to Syracuse University in New York.
Yep, New York.
And was on the drum line at Syracuse back in the 90s. So a big accomplishment for him. And he came back home to be a band director at John Curtis High School, which is a football powerhouse in New Orleans. You might have heard of him, but he's been the band director there for many years. And just, I don't have the words to express the gratitude and to him and what he's done with Seth and the amazing individual that he is. And I hope one day you can meet him, because he'll come to Houston from time to time.
Yeah.
To this day, he still gets in drum competitions and will place first, second, or third in drum speed contests and things like that, Seth. So
he's hand speed contests.
Just an amazing guy. We used to have lessons. He used to have lessons with Seth on Saturdays. He'd go an hour past the lesson time because he knew the work that Seth was putting in, to accomplish what he was trying to do. So just an amazing individual. I just wanted to give Thomas a little shout out there.
Most definitely. No, those are the type of people who, when they're coaching and when they're mentoring and they see that the student is absorbing, those are the ones who are going to spend the extra time to say, okay, I think an extra 15 minutes with this person will be the equivalent of another hour, because they're so inspired, passionate at the time. So he saw that in you, and he said, I'm going to give a little extra, because he knew that what he was sharing with you was going to inspire you, and it sounds like he was right.
Without a doubt. So go ahead, Seth. So you're at Holy Cross at this time, and I think you became drumline captain your senior year at Holy Cross.
Yep. So my sophomore year, I played bass drum. Junior year, I played tenors, and then got to be drum captain my senior year. And there were some pretty good players on that line too. Like Tyler was a really good player. Joe played bass drum, or Bo as we called him. He played bass drum, but he was also really, really good. Bo actually became drum captain after I graduated.
Nice.
And there were some really good people in that line. But yeah, not meaning to brag, I was by far doing a lot more.
What I find, Seth, is when you're passionate and it's good to have healthy competition like that, because when you have other people who are equal to or just as good as you, it forces you to kind of raise the bar on yourself. And it sounds like that's the type of environment you had with all the other people who are ready to step in, right? So it's amazing.
So you were mentioning earlier about LSU and what started that journey of wanting to go there and stuff like that. When I started Holy Cross Band, there were 2 members on the drum line that I knew. There was a third one, but I wasn't really. There was actually a bunch of them that all went to LSU and made the drum line, namely Joe Gray, Chris Hall, Kevin McCabe, and Tate Williams. All went to LSU. Yeah. They were all a couple of different years. Like Chris and Joe are the oldest. They went first. They made it, and Chris became drum captain at LSU. Then Joe was on it for a couple of years, but then he started getting like back problems. He got an injury, so he couldn't do it.
It's the worst.
Then Kevin McCabe and Tate Williams went, and Kevin got drum captain his senior year. So at this point, I'm just thinking like, man, half the guys that were at Holy Cross that went to LSU became LSU's drumline captain. And Kevin McCabe, who played tenors at the time, he told me that like we can go see the band rehearse at the indoor practice facility, or the indoor football facility. We called it the IFF, and we got to watch the band rehearse. And then we did like a little spend a day with the band, and I got to see them at the football game, at the LSU football game, the home game that year. And I think I just told Dad at the end, like, "Yep, I want to go to LSU." So
let me straighten out the story, Joe.
Yeah, he's gonna tell the real version.
So
history there was revised. A legacy. Let's hear this.
There was a legacy at Holy Cross's drumline of being in LSU's drumline for like almost 8 or 9 years going back. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Seth was determined to continue that tradition. I mean, with a fever, he wanted to make sure he continued that tradition, which he was able to accomplish. And I applaud him, because, man, this cat was practicing. If it was an 80-hour week, I might be sliding it some. So his senior year, we got invited to go see LSU do a whole day prep for a game. I think we got there, son, at about 10 o'clock, and we were there the whole day for the game, everything. And they treated him outstanding. They treated him great. Yeah. So the game's over. I got lucky. A good friend of mine, Tim Hand, and they gave me a couple of tickets to the game, which is right next to the band, right next to the Drumline. So it was perfect. And we see the whole thing, and Seth is just in awe the whole day. So we get in the car to go home. We're not in the car 5 minutes.
Because your eyes were hurting so bad from the traffic. That never got better.
Right. And then so he looks at me and he says, Dad, I think this was the greatest day of my life. I'm going to LSU.
Now that's amazing. Now that's a story. That's an inspiration. So question for you though, Seth. Question for you. Not so much about the inspiration, but I want you to talk a little bit about, for the non-musicians, from the percussion, you're talking about the drumline, you talked about quads, you talked about tenors, you talked about bass. For the non-musicians, can you just tell us a little bit about what the difference is between all those? Because not every drum's a drum. People say, oh, it's a drum. No, there's a lot more to it than that. Just give us the layman's version of what the difference of all those things are, because you had to be aware of all those. You played all those. You experienced all those. What's the difference to the layman for that?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the marching drums specifically, because the concert version of all these drums are very different. So we're under the assumption that these are the marching drums. So the snare drum is just a drum, basically, with a top head and a bottom head. And on the bottom head, they got these wires. And those wires are strained very tight, and it makes a tone. And they're called snares.
Yeah, that's what gives it the snap. That's the snap you always hear, right?
Yeah, it's called snares, like, the term, like in-snare, like grabs and stuff like that. So it's like it's grabbed tightly on the bottom head, and it just so it makes that rattle sound, and that's the snare. Bass drums is like a big old drum on its side, and it makes the big booming sound.
Yeah.
So in most types of bands, there's different types of marching bands. There's show style, which is like places like Southern University or St. Aug High School. Those are more show style, so they use just impact bass drums. It's all the same size.
Right.
Core style is what I was in, and that's LSU and Holy Cross were core style. We use something called tonal bass drums. So it's like 5 or 6 bass drums, each of them one a little bit bigger than the last. So it goes like do 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 do.
It's almost the bass toms almost they're bass drums, but they're tuned from high to low. So yes.
Yeah, and those are tenor drums. Those are
there. They are.
That's it.
Okay.
Yep. That's it.
So those are quads, also called tenors, also called quints, also called sextets. It just depends on how many drums are on it. So you'll notice that one has 6. So those are called sextets. They're called quads because the originals used to have only 4. Actually, the originals only had 3. So they're called triples.
3, right.
Tritons. Then quads came around. That was the hugest thing for a while.
Yeah.
They add that one little small drum, so they call them quints. That's what I use Holy Cross, and then LSU use sextets. But to make it easier, we just call them tenors, like the tenor voicing.
Tenors, that's right.
Makes sense.
And there's actually a way to think about it. If do you know, Joe? Do you know what SATB stands for?
Well, I did take the SAT to get into college. I just was missing that one extra letter, so I'm not sure what that means. Can you tell us what that means?
Soprano, alto, tenor, bass.
Baritone or bass or baritone?
Yeah, bass / baritone. We're not talking about like the minor versions, because then start getting into that stuff. But the main 4 is soprano, alto, tenor, bass.
I hadn't thought about that.
On a drumline voicing is cymbals is the soprano voice, snares is the alto voice, tenors is the tenor voice, and basses are the bass voice.
I was thinking of maybe San Antonio and Tampa Bay. It's ATB. Maybe it works like that.
Nah. Sorry, that's my music education background coming out.
Right. Oh, Joe's doing his cerveza background. So anyway, you started out at LSU. So Joe, he goes to LSU, and at the summer before he started, I mean, it's a tryout, and they keep so many instruments. Yeah, they auditions. They keep so many.
It's a competition.
What is it, Seth? Like 11 cymbals, maybe 5 or 6.
No. So
you tell me.
So usually the drumline has a strict number of 30 to 31. Wow. So that usually include my first year. We've grown a little bit. So my first year it was 9 cymbals, 5 tenors, 9 snares, 6 basses. And everyone had to audition. So even if you were on the line, you had to re-audition for the drum line. So it was, and usually the turnout for people auditioning is, I think my freshman year, we had about 75 people auditioning for a 30-person drum line. That's including vets.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, if you figure LSU is the premier, would you say that? I'll ask you, would you say that in the Louisiana Southeast, what is the premier program for that drum line? Premier college for that, would you say?
Like an SEC you're talking about, or?
Yeah, and at the level of LSU.
I mean, Alabama's drumline's pretty good. LSU's drumline was pretty good, or is pretty good still. I don't want to be trashed. I'm not going to trash talk any universities that I know whose drumlines aren't good. Let's just say Dad's college wasn't exactly the best drumline.
Some are better than others. It's all relative, though, Jay. It's all relative.
It's all relative.
Yeah, but I will say, I do think LSU's drumline was amongst the top bands and drum lines in the SEC.
Yeah.
Now there are some other drum lines that are insane. Like oh god, what's their mascot's like the Thunder Herd or something like that.
Is that Marshall? Marshall? I think Marshall's a Thundering Herd, aren't they?
Marshall?
I had the wrong drum line. No, I'm completely wrong. Sorry. Arizona. The Sun Devils. They have
Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State.
Yeah. They had one of the best drum lines in America.
Yeah.
For collegiate. We're not talking about DCI. And for like a while.
No, we say all this with all due respect. Of course, wherever we are, we're going to take pride and say, hey, we're one of the top. But when you talk about other competitors, it's out of respect. You know, you have to tip your hat.
Right.
If somebody else, they earn it, you got to tip your hat to them. So I was just asking, just to set the baseline, to see where LSU fits in the big picture of things.
So, yeah, so my freshman year, I was auditioning for this drum line. I came from Holy Cross, which wasn't exactly the biggest band. I think the max we always had was 60. The drum line was like 11 of us. We were okay. Like some of us were pretty decent, some of us were not. But like going into LSU's drum line, which is like one of the top drum lines in the SEC, was such a huge, insane
it's a huge leap. Yeah,
it is still one of the biggest leaps I had to take. And to show you how competitive it really was, I did not make tenors my freshman year at LSU. There were just those 5 kids that made it were just a lot better. But not just that.
But Seth, they had about 4 that were coming back, right?
4 of them were vets, so they were already knew that they could beat out. Now you could have beaten them out, but no one was capable of beating them out.
No.
But they were veterans, Joe. So
yeah.
No, it's like anything else. When you're the incumbent, you got to beat me. I'm already in. You got to beat me, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
And the 5th guy was better than half the vets, so he made it, of course. But to show you how competitive it was, I wasn't even given a spot on the drum line at first. I was given a callback, which means it was between me and another guy for the last spot, and they didn't know
on
who to
cymbals.
decide on cymbals.
On cymbals. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was one spot left, and they had me and this other dude, and there was a party that night, and the drum captain at the time was my friend Kevin, and he told me, because I told him I wanted to go home and practice for so I can make sure I get that spot, and he said, go to the party. So I went to the party, and the other guy did not, and the next day the other guy didn't show up, so I got the spot, and I was the last one to make the drum line. So yeah, it was that big of a leap. I barely made that drum line. I know, and there were people that I knew that were incoming freshmen, and I knew them from high school, from other high schools that we were auditioning for, and they didn't make it. So like it was just crazy how. And then the music we ended up playing at LSU my freshman year, even though I played cymbals, was so difficult. I had never seen music like that in my life before at that point. So it was
that's what you got to be. Yeah, makes sense. So I mean, from all that, Seth, it sounds like you experienced a lot of things. You had the ups, the downs, the competition, getting up early, working hard. From all that, what was maybe the most impactful experience you had, or maybe a lesson you learned from all that that you still carry to this day?
Oh God, there's so many. Well, like one I will never like an unforgettable moment was my sophomore year going to the national championship. And my girlfriend then, now wife, I remember being on the field with her after we had won the national championship with all the 2020 national championship football confetti coming down.
Beautiful.
Dad's about to get something again.
We know he is. Keep on telling us.
He's got the picture that we took at the national championship, and there's a funny story behind that picture that he's about to show you in a second.
Huge.
Oh yeah, I wanted Joe to ask you about this picture.
So
who's in the bottom center of that picture, Joe?
My head.
Very bottom center.
I can't see. You guys tell me. My glasses don't have enough magnifying power for that.
It's me. So when they were taking that picture, I was with Annalise.
Can y'all see?
Yes. Anyways, so
Continue.
I was with Annalise getting a picture with her, and then I just heard my friend Caleb. So my nickname in college was SB. It's just my initials. Most people on the drumline had nicknames, so my nickname was SB. So I just hear Caleb screaming from I would like to say 30 yards away, SB! And I look over and I see all of them taking a picture, and I'm like, shoot! So I run. I'm trying to keep the rating PG.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Look, we have cocktails here, so Joe, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Salud, brother.
So I bolt, and I do a slide on my knees to the picture real quick, do a quick smile to the picture right in the front center.
That's beautiful, bro. That's a story. That's a story. Right. That's what I'm talking about.
Joe, that's part of the LSU lore.
It's the lore. It's the journey.
I wouldn't say that's part of the LSU lore. I got a couple other stories that are part of the LSU lore. A couple of those stories are definitely too R-rated for this podcast.
So, Joe, I asked him, I said, how the hell did you end up in the bottom center of the picture? Dad, I was late to the picture. That was it, Joe.
These are things that are part of pop culture history. They're part of your personal history. They're part of sports history. I mean, be a part of that. I would consider it an honor if all that happened to me like what you're saying.
I told Seth, man, you were there when the team won a national championship.
Yes.
That kind of shit just don't happen all the time, man. Unless you're in Alabama, that shit don't happen all the time, you know.
So Alabama.
Anyway,
exactly.
I mean, that's he was like, Dad, it was something else. It was amazing. I'm like, son, enjoy every moment of it, man. Every moment.
That's what I'm saying, man. Every day's a celebration, and even if you don't think it is, you look back at it, and it becomes one, right? So I mean, this is some amazing history that you've been you had the good fortune to take a part of. And I wouldn't even say it was good fortune, it's because you worked you know what off to get to that level, to be there, to be able to experience all that, right? So that's the part, again, all the work you put into all that to get to that, to have the chance to be there, and all that you would have never thought from all the things you were doing in Holy Cross and everywhere else that you'd be there at that time. And lo and behold, it materialized, right?
Yep, and that's where I got this bad boy.
What?
Yep. Look out, Joe.
Now who's showing the gold?
Got my name on it.
Oh my God.
It's got Tiger Band. It's got some imprints in the middle that you can't see from here, but it says just stuff from the LSU Drumline. And that's the national championship ring. So everyone in the band got one of these that year.
Now that is amazing. Again, this is part of sports history, pop culture history, and you are a piece of that. You know, so that's something. I mean, how many people can even say that? So I'm glad you were able to do it. I mean, I'll live through you for all that. This is great. I love hearing this.
And Joe, who was the coach?
Was that our old friend Saban at the time, or who was it?
Nope.
It was our man who loved to party, wasn't it? Was it our man who loved to party? He was hanging out with everybody after the game party.
Give him a minute, Seth. Let us see if he can get it. Who is it, Joe?
Coach Ogeron. I know him. I don't even.
Go Tigers.
That'd be a guy, Jay. If we could ever do a podcast with that guy, off the record and on the record, that'd be the guy to tell the stories right there. That guy.
Now, were you co-host for that one?
Coach O, absolutely. On the record and off the record, Coach O. That's a guy I want to have a beer with, no questions asked.
Coach O, his nickname was Bebe.
Yeah, Coach
Seth, your Uncle Tommy was one of his buddies back in the day, man. Bebe, that was his nickname, Joe. Bebe, Coach O.
Coach O, Coach O. Coach O. I love it, man. I love it.
So anyway, Seth, talk to us about when you started playing. I think it was your third year you started playing tenors.
I played tenors my third, fourth, and fifth year at LSU. I played cymbals my first 2 years. So when I started playing tenors, it was during the year of COVID. So we had some restrictions with the band, but it didn't ruin its time for me. I still had a lot of fun that year. And the drum captain at the time, Abe, he was the center tenor. I was one off center. So the way it works is the center is usually the best, or the section leader. So Abe was the center, I was one off center, and then we had 2 rookies. We only had 4 tenors that year. And because just the talent difference between the 4th tenor and the guy who would have been the 5th tenor was just too vast.
So the gap.
Yeah, there was too big of a gap between the 4th and the 5th guy that year. And I remember when I was playing, I was just so nervous the whole time. My first time playing tenors in Tiger Stadium, even though it was COVID and there was no one there, it was still still nervous because I'm like right next to the drumline captain who's really, really good. And I'm just like trying my best to keep up with him because this is right before I would like to say my prime hands. I'll get to that in a second. But he just pulled me to the side one day. He's just like, you just need to lay back. He's just like, just lay back into the beat and just vibe with it.
Yeah.
His name was Abe, and this man is just, he was a connoisseur of finer things, is what we like to say.
Abe's a solid young man. A lot of respect for Abe. Good young man.
Abe actually was the what's it called? The guy who speaks at your wedding, who marries you.
The officiant.
Yeah, Abe was my wedding officiant.
He sure was. Yeah.
So after that year, I finally started getting my confidence back, and I practiced so much that year because I didn't want to be the guy who was nervous on the tenor line that year. So in 2021, I had the best audition, and I was given the new center spot, and we held 5 quads that year. It was me, Peyton, Hunter, Montre, and Brian, and I was the center, so I got to do the solo. But it was just like that at that point in 2021 with that quad line, I would like to say that is the best quad line I've ever been a part of was 2021. We were so clean. We were good. Beautiful. And we knew we were good. We were by far the best section of the drum line that year. And then I ran for drum captain that year as well for the next year for 2022. And me and my friend Caleb, we both got it. So of course I put myself as tenor center again, and then we actually introduced a 6th guy. Now, when you've been in college for 5 years and you had just had your 4th year be like this, like super piss clean tenor line, and then I finally got drum captain, we all stopped caring. We were nowhere. We were the tenor line. We weren't the best section in the drum line. The bass section was actually the best, but the tenors, I would like to say, were a very close second. But we stopped caring quite as much. I know it's a bad thing to say.
No, it's different.
Look. To be as clean as we were, that took a lot of hard work, extra time practicing, meeting up after school when the band's done practicing to get an extra couple hours of rehearsal in. That took a lot of work. And the 5 of us, here's the thing. My 5th year, all 5 tenors that played that year returned, and then we added a 6th guy, and he was pretty decent, named Charlie. So it was me, Montre, Peyton, Hunter, Brian, and Charlie. Look, this is what I like to say. 2021 was our cleanest tenor line. 2022 was my favorite tenor line because we were just having a better time. We weren't in 21, even though we were very clean, we were extremely hard on each other. And like if there was someone not clean, we'd like get on their ass to be clean.
Let them know.
Yeah,
let them know.
But in 22, we kind of we were in the mood of wanting to vibe more and kind of enjoy our time there a little bit more.
No, that's amazing. So Seth, are any of those guys, I'm sure they're somewhere along with you as far as age-wise, are any of those guys still involved in music at all?
So actually, I was the oldest one. They were all about 2 years younger than me, except Brian. He was 3, and then Charlie was 4. So let's see. Peyton did DCI in his.
That's a drum corps, Joe.
Yeah, Drum Corps International. Yeah. He did Boston Crusaders
on
bass drum. He's a very good tenor player, but he's like a world-class level bass drummer, actually, which is crazy.
Nice. And Peyton's one of my favorite ones because, man, he's a character. He's a character.
He was certainly a character. Now I'll tell you that much. Let's see. Hunter, he was a really, really big dude, but he was a good person. I loved him.
Without a doubt, yeah. And
he doesn't do music anymore. He just finished his last year at LSU. This past year, he did a 5th year, and then I think he works in engineering now. Brian also just graduated because he took his 4th year, also playing tenors. As far as I'm concerned, he's out. He's done with it. Montre stood at my wedding. Actually, he was my ring bearer.
Sure was.
I always thought it'd be a little kid that does a ring bearer. I guess it can be an actual adult also.
Nah,
yes, you can.
So Montre, he was drum captain after me. So when I graduated, he became drum captain.
Right.
And he also graduated LSU this past year. So he's a car salesman actually over in
really?
Yeah, over by Bossier.
Okay, by Shreveport. Okay.
Across the pond over there,
yeah. And Charlie, he stopped doing LSU Drumline the year before last. He liked playing drum set, and he's in a band, so he just likes to go gig with his band. But as far as that's as far as I know of the tenor players who went to go pursue music afterwards.
So going forward this year, you're really not familiar with anybody that's probably going to be on the line this year.
Well, I still know a good bit of them. The drum captain is still Braden. It's his 3rd year being drum captain.
Oh, wow.
So Montre and
wow.
Braden. So they always choose 2 drum captains. So when me and Caleb left, we were both 5th years. Montre and Braden took over. And then it was Braden and Ethan last year. And now it's Braden and Miles. I never marched with Miles. Actually, it's funny because I cut Miles his freshman year. He didn't make it till his sophomore year.
Well, you motivated him, man. Right, Joe? You motivated him.
You motivated him, exactly. So, I mean, Seth, there's always so many things about this era and this timeline of where you were. I mean, I know you couldn't have been doing just music all the time, 24/7, right? Was there any other little side things you were kind of doing at the time there? Anything with food or anything interesting you can share with us?
So, I remember my freshman year, I did a hot wings challenge. It was the Mother's Wing Bar Fire in the Hole challenge. I had to eat 25 of their hottest wings, and oh my God, it was like pure habanero paste, and like and it had some pepper extracts in it. It was like, it was awful. It was disgusting. Sorry, it was.
Where was you rated on the? You do know it. I hope you know this. Where was it on the Scoville scale for heat? Do you know what the Scoville scale is?
Yeah, I know the Scoville scale.
Yes.
God, it was. It was pretty. It was. Let me get a baseline reference real quick. So let's see. They habanero Scoville.
Look it up for us. Google it for us real quick. Educate people about the Scoville scale.
Joe, why he's looking it up?
Hey, Jay, you're talking heat, spices. Right, you're talking about language, brother.
All right. So the Scoville heat scale for a habanero pepper is 100,000 Scoville units. Okay. I would say this was roughly because it had extract in it and pure habanero paste. That means, and they didn't cut it with anything, by the way. So to make it not as spicy, no, it was just like raw pepper.
Yeah.
I would say that was roughly about 200,000 Scoville units, which is the equivalent of that's not Wait, this one says habanero is 350. It's like whatever the habanero is, because all the Scoville scales are wrong. It was like double that, so not quite ghost chili territory, but pretty abysmal.
Potent stuff. Yeah, potent stuff. So how many gallons of milk did you have to drink to mitigate that?
Oh yeah, I want a T-shirt and the whole staff signed it.
He won a T-shirt all the time.
I have to tell you guys this one little story. I mean, I can't claim that I've eaten 25 hot wings and won a Plugger's eating contest. But back in the 90s, when I was learning about eating crawfish, Jay, I'll tell you this one little 30-second story. I was learning about
back in the day.
I grew up in South Texas. There was no crawfish. I had no idea what the heck even a crawfish was until I moved to the Houston area. And I guess it was maybe 95, 96. There's a fiesta over here in Houston off of 1960 and 249. I'm just going and doing my grocery shopping. And they're like, they make an announcement over the PA saying, we're going to have a crawfish eating contest. I was like, I'll join it.
Did you know it
was to eat who could eat the fastest 5 pounds of crawfish? You have to do the tails and the head. Suck all heads.
Right.
You never guess who won.
Astro Joe Garcia.
There was a monster guy there, 6'5", 6'6", a big old guy. He's like, man, I got this. I was right next to the guy. There was another guy with a long old beard, little ZZ Top looking guy who was next to me on this side. I got this, man. I'm going to go ahead and do this. So anyway, I won the contest, baby. I didn't win a T-shirt, though. I won like a little Old Smoky, one of them barbecue grill things. And I got me a free 5 pounds of crawfish.
Well, he liked that. I know that.
So
man, I'm sitting here with two legends, man. Damn.
Oh.
There were two other food challenges. I actually didn't do them because I had sanity of what I was doing in my body. Yeah, because once I did the hot wings challenge my freshman year, I said, no more, because that was a whole miserable experience.
I can only imagine.
I have an iron stomach though, so I didn't get sick the next day.
He does.
So I can handle most things you put in my stomach. Yeah. It's not as good as it used to be, but back then
it's worse. It only gets worse.
No, it only gets better, Joe. Right?
Yeah. So there's this restaurant in Baton Rouge called Fat Boys Pizza.
And Fat Boys Pizza.
And they had a Fat Boy Pizza challenge. They took so they just said you had to eat a slice in like a minute and 30 seconds. So like, a slice? No, it's not a slice. They take a whole pizza and then just cut it like that. And the slice is that big. And you have to eat the whole thing in a minute and 30 seconds and the meal is free. I had two friends try to do that challenge. Both failed. And I watched both of them just like stuff this pizza in their mouth and then go get sick in the bathroom.
No.
And I'm just watching them laughing my ass off. And then
all I can
continue.
all I would say was this reminds me of just this past 4th of July. They need to outlaw this darn hot dog eating contest. Nobody should eat 75 freaking hot dogs. How the heck does that guy survive? That should be. I would not do that. So I would not want anybody to eat 75 hot dogs or a freaking one slice of pizza. That's just wrong.
Actually, fun fact: the world champion hot dog eater, I forgot his name, but he's actually
Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut. That Fat Boy Pizza challenge I was telling you about. He has the record. He did it in like 30, So
I mean,
1 minute 30 seconds. No. It's actually like 2 minutes or something to finish this slice. He ate the damn thing in 30 seconds.
Dude, that's human torture, man. That should be illegal, man. I'm trying to keep it PG-13, like you said, man. That stuff should be illegal.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
There was a video of it. He just like wraps it up in a ball and just shoves it down he literally shoves it down his throat.
That's not enjoyment, man. I want to enjoy the food I'm eating. I enjoyed my 5 pounds that I ate in a minute and 30 seconds.
Exactly.
However, I was telling the other so there's one more story, and then I'll tell this story.
All right.
The third challenge was the McDonald's breakfast challenge. It was kind of made by us, actually. You had to eat 3. So they had 3 breakfast sandwiches at McDonald's that you had to eat. So you had to eat 3 breakfast sandwiches, a whole hot plate, 4 hash browns, a large orange juice, and a large coffee. You had to eat all of it in one sitting. And I watched my boy One of my friends tried to do it. Fail. And he's the same one.
Epic fail.
Yeah, he's the same one that I watched try to do the pizza challenge and then go throw up in the bathroom. He's over 2, and I'm standing here as the only one that's managed to beat a food, like an eating challenge on the drumline. No. So I mean,
part of the Lord, Joe.
I say this, I'll conclude the topic on this. You can have a contest. It just needs to be a limit, like you said, 25 wings, and it's not like who can eat 100 wings. Like 100 is like, no, too much. There has to be a limit. That's what, like, this darn hot dog contest should only be like, who can eat 10 the fastest? Something reasonable.
A little backstop on it, have a backstop there.
Practice for that hot wings challenge. I would go to Pluckers and just order their hottest wings just to kind of practice. And then the day before, I did not eat the day before or the day of before I took that challenge, so I could stomach 25 wings. And they're bone on, so it's not like nuggets where you can just pop it in your mouth and
I know, bro.
It's done. No, it's bone in, so it makes it harder to eat.
When Seth made the drumline captain, we were all impressed, but when I told my sister and a couple of other friends about Seth winning the hot wings challenge, they were like, dude, that's serious business there.
That's what I'm talking about. I used to love the hot wings, man. Back, I know you've had some other podcasts in the past about old school, Jay. Just a quick little 10-second story on that. Some old school stuff was back in the day here. Back in the 90s, they used to have these nickel hot wings. So you get 20 wings for $1 back in the old days before wings were all popular.
Definitely.
You could order them whatever heat you wanted. Naked, hot, extra hot, habanero hot. They'd give you all the flavors. But basically, you'd go and you'd eat your 20 wings. You get out of work at 5:30, go hit happy hour, spend $5 or $10. It was like dollar beers and nickel freaking wings back in the old days, Jay. And all you needed was $5, and you're going home full and feeling good.
Happy.
You know what I'm saying? So
happy
after a happy hour. That's what I'm saying. So
I remember my dad telling me a story that there was this burger joint right by LSU. There was this burger joint there that would, like, randomly, they would just be like, what was it, 50-cent burgers or something like that?
No. It was a 29-cent hamburger stand. And that was the name of it, the 29-cent hamburger stand.
29 cents. Just a little burger, just a freaking.
No cell phones, but every now and then they would put out a sign and it said 19-cent hamburgers. Brother, word was spread like wildfire. And I don't know how, and we'd all book ass over there to go get 19-cent hamburgers. Dude, we'd have $3 and get, like, I don't know, like 15 hamburgers. We all knocking them down.
You're stocking up. I was stocking up, taking my wings home on that nickel wing night.
Knocking them down.
I was eating frozen wings for a week.
I told Seth, I'm like, man, that's an LSU legendary story there. 19-cent hamburger and beat the clock on Friday afternoons to go a beer challenge, but they always had wings there at Murphy's.
They actually
legendary stories.
So Murphy's, I think, is one of the only bar. I don't know. It says Fred's was there when Dad was there, but I don't know if you ever went to Fred's by Tigerland.
I don't remember Fred's. I might have to talk to Mike Stahl or somebody about that.
There were some other bars like the Bengal and stuff like that back in the day. That's not
Bengal,
there
we were there a lot.
I know some bars that are still there now is like Mike's and Fred's and Reggie's and JL's and Bogey's.
Yeah.
But Murphy's was there for a while, but Murphy's closed for a while. They were shut down because of that hazing thing that happened.
Yeah, a few years ago. Yeah, I remember that.
Back in 2017, there was a huge hazing problem with this one frat, and it led to the unfortunate death of a student. And the bar got in a lot of trouble for giving drinks to underage kids who weren't 21 yet. So Murphy shut down for a long time, and they actually reopened my 5th year. So they were closed for about 6 years. So they just reopened back in 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey there, don't go away. We'll be right back with more of In the Pocket with Jay Bo right after this message from our sponsor.
Hey everybody, I'm Astro Joe Garcia. I'm here today to talk about my Substack blog called Houston Hangout. I write about different things on there, from creativity to entrepreneurship to music and just life in Houston, trying to make ends meet like we all are. I write a few times a week. Every article that I do ties back to a song that matches the theme of the article, and every Tuesday I do a dedicated song breakdown about a song that means something to me, brings back a memory, and of course I invite you to share your thoughts with me on all that. So if you're creating, you're building, or just trying to stay grounded, my blog is for you. Subscribe at houstonhangout.substack.com or check out astrojoegarcia.com. Thank you.
So, what's your poison?
I mean, you can see right now I have a 512 Brewing, which is my favorite brewery in Austin. Also, it is the original area code of South Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
Back when I was growing up, 512 area code went from Austin all the way down to Brownsville. It was one giant area code, which is a whole other podcast, like we say, Jay, about area codes and how they've evolved through the years. But to answer your question, Jay and Seth, this is what I'm having right now. The Stash IPA. Out of Austin,
nice.
Texas. Out of Austin, Texas. Shout out to our friends from all the breweries in Austin, Texas. I like them all. I love them all. I'm beer club members for many breweries in the Houston area.
Yes, he is.
A podcast for another day.
Joe, what is the national anthem of San Antonio you always say?
Hey, baby, ¿qué pasó?
What's
yours, Steph? What you got, brother?
That's one of my
Show
favorite songs that Joe does.
Show us what you got.
Iced tea. I got a little American honey going on here.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I know that's your favorite. I got water.
There you go.
Yeah, this water jug, I fill it up every morning, and it has timestamps that I need to have drink it by. So I need to have this finished by 9 p.m. Because it measures how much water you should have daily.
Right.
I bet Joe likes that.
Yeah, I need to drink water because of all this, because of how
the
hot
altitude,
it is.
Altitude and heat.
Yeah, I actually probably should be drinking more than that today because I had a very active morning. I got up early, I swept the house, then vacuumed the house, then mopped the house, then I mowed the lawn, front, side yards, and backyard all before noon, and then
love it.
And
it's just mowing the lawn in that 100-degree heat was just brutal. So,
yep.
Well, let's get back to business. So at LSU, Joe, is where Seth met his wife, Annalise, during their freshman year, I want to say. And Seth, just kind of take it from there. Give us a little quick story on that.
So I was at a party my freshman year. So when you make the drumline, not just the drumline, when you make the band, usually a lot of people throw a big party not associated with the band, and it's called cut night because you made the cut. So, there's usually a bunch of parties that happen, and some sections go to certain ones. And the drumline was holding theirs, and usually the Golden Girls and the Piccolos, and at that time, just a couple other people would go to that. So it's different now. It's like everyone finds their own clique at that point, much years later. So I don't think the drumline and Piccolos are close like they used to be at that point. But back then, the drumline, Golden Girls, and Piccolos were all close. So I was at that party, and we had this drink, and it's the Drumline's most notorious drink. It's called Rave Punch. It's just Everclear.
No, thank you.
It's just Everclear.
That's all I needed to know. Yeah. No, thank you, brother.
We just get this big full water cooler jug, and the people that make the punch write their name on it, so it's got names on there since the 80s. My name's actually on there because my fifth year, Caleb and I made it. It's just 4 or 5 bottles of Everclear and Kool-Aid packets and a little bit of water.
That's the old school, Jay. I don't know if you remember this, the old trash can punch. And they would throw in the cherries and the peaches and all, you get cans of mixed fruit.
We did that, but it was called jungle juice. But it wasn't
jungle juice.
That's what we call
trash can juice, jungle juice, exactly. Same thing.
You'll probably end up in the trash can.
Man.
This is Rave Punch. And hey, look, I'll tell you what. Every time we made Rave Punch, I don't know how, we always finished it. So I'm keep in mind, a freshman at LSU at this point. I'm not going to say my age. Anyway.
I wasn't asking.
Yep. So I think I'm on my third cup at this point. I'd only been drunk once before this. It was I called it for me. Yeah, my friend at the time, he was my active, actually, kind of like my big brother in the system that we were having there, Abe, that I was mentioning earlier. And he told me I needed to talk to a girl because I was too scared. I was a shy kid. I needed to talk to a girl. And I remember just kind of like chilling out at the party and looking to my left and seeing this girl. And we ended up talking for about an hour and a half. And I asked her out, and she said, "Ask me when you're sober."
The answer. I think I know the answer, but did you?
Yeah, we went on a date the next day, but we actually decided after that date we were going to go on a second date, but then we talked about it and decided it probably wasn't the best idea to date at that point. She was also she was 17 when we met. I was 18, and she had never dated someone before. She was worried about that and just a bunch of other things. But we didn't start. We stayed friends for about a solid year and a half, really close friends actually. And we started dating at the end of dating halfway through my sophomore year. And we dated for about 5 years. And I proposed right after I graduated college.
So Joe, let me back up a little bit. Yep. They don't officially date till around December. What, Seth? Thanksgiving? Your sophomore year?
December 6th.
But the whole year prior, Joe, going back 12 months, Dad, Annalise and I this. Dad, Annalise and I that. Dad, Annalise and I this. And I'm like, and I'm talking to my wife, Becky, and I'm like, man, he sure does talk about Annalise a lot. You know, I wonder what's going on there. And then I talked to his mother, and I'm like, Connie, he sure does talk about Annalise. And she goes, yeah, I know. And we're laughing about it. So he calls around, December, Seth, your sophomore year?
Well, actually,
Dad, I got some
later. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dad, I got some big news to tell you. I got some new news to tell you. I'm like, what's that? Annalise and I are officially dating. Okay, what else is going on?
What's the surprise?
That's a big freaking deal, man. It's a big deal.
It was the least biggest surprise I've ever heard before, Joe.
No, right?
No, we love it because we love her tremendously.
Tell me something I already know.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person, and we like her more than him now.
I was about to say, y'all better like her more than me.
Oh, we like her more than you. Yeah, easily, believe me. So, and Joe, you bet Annalise before, you know. Yep. So good stuff, man.
The main thing is, you know, there's a connection when it's over years. These people who have the I met and there was love at first sight, and they're married 30 days later or something like that. They don't know all the things. Right. So you got to know and experience, and she knew you before you guys got to go through all the things together. That's what makes this a success. Right. So,
I think my thing with that was just like, you need to make sure you can be friends first.
Yeah, totally.
That was the thing. I asked Annalise on a second date, and we decided no. Usually a lot of people at that point, after they're like denied a second date or so, they'll just like not want to do anything with that person ever again. I still but that's the thing. Annalise was still a very interesting person and a good person. And I thought I was right. They were going to be a great friend. So me and Annalise were really, really good friends for a year and a half.
That's what you have to figure out. That's what some people figure out like you did. Some people maybe don't figure it out, but you did. And that's why you are where you are also. You have to have that person behind you who can support you and knows you, knows about your passions, knows what makes you tick. I'll always say they're the brains behind the scene who lets you be the person you are, right? They empower you to do that. And I know Jay has that with Becky, I have that with Lena, and now you have that with Annalise. So amazing, man.
Well, like I say, I'm married to my probation officer, and Joe's married to his attorney.
Oh, yeah.
And Seth marries to his soulmate.
Yep, that's it, man. That's it. And if they can be all three, then you hit the jackpot.
There you go. But she's a wonderful, wonderful young lady, and elegant, and just couldn't be more happy than, who Seth's married to. So just kudos to Seth. So just really happy with that, son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Annalise is one of the most wonderful people I've ever met in my entire life, and I feel lucky every single day that I'm with her.
Without a doubt. So let's start talking about the band director thing, because that's kind of the meat and potatoes of what we wanted to talk about here. But I said we could be here 5 hours, man. That's the way we roll, baby. So what we're going to talk about here is Joe and I were talking about this recently, and one thing he brought up is, man, when did Seth actually have this notion that he wanted to be a band director? So talk to us a little bit about that.
So my freshman year of LSU, I was originally a construction management major. My first semester was a rough semester. I was being this guy, trying to prove myself to the Drumline, going out to parties a lot with them. I wasn't enjoying any of my classes, and I wasn't really enjoying my degree either, and I didn't do as good with grades my first semester as I usually do, because I was a straight A student in high school, and that first semester of college is like the worst GPA I've ever had at that point. So I remember talking with my dad just about like, what do I want to do? Because obviously, whatever I was doing at LSU at that point, I wasn't happy with just degree. This is excluding everything with the Drumline at this point.
Right.
It's just at school, do you enjoy what you're doing? And I just was like, no. So I was just thinking for a while, and I'm just like, what's something I like doing? Well, I love band. So if that's what makes me happy, why don't I try to go for that? And I talked to a couple of friends of mine who were studying music in the band. Actually, Annalise was a music education major before me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was a music education.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And she was actually the one who convinced me to go to music as an education major. And I told Dad and my mom about it and everything. Very supportive. And then I went into my second semester, my freshman year, and a brand new major. And I kind of knew by the first week in January that, like, yeah, this is what I like. I love this. And it just got better from there. And it's actually a funny story. We like to joke about it now, but Annalise was a music major. And then then she convinced me to be a music major. And then she left the music major. She went to go to some college. So I kind of replaced her as one of the students. Being a music major just felt gratifying. I got to learn so much more than I ever would have thought about with music. Music theory was tough. That was my version of math class, and just chord analysis, and just, Dad, I gotta tell you, studying music theory, I think Joe might know a little bit about it, but y'all even scratched the surface of how.
Wait a minute. Don't be insulting our intelligence over here.
Oh, I'm not insulting your intelligence over here, but God, was that stuff. I'm insulting my intelligence here, because that was some of the hardest stuff I've ever had to take in my life. That was insane.
It is. So let me ask you this, since you're Mr. Music, let me ask you this one. How would you explain music modes to a non-music person? Tell me about music modes. We want to get into a little bit of music theory. Just my only question I'll ask about music theory is that one. How do you explain music modes to the layman?
Okay. To the layman? So it's hard to explain to the layman when there's no music experience, but I'll explain it like I'm explaining it to Dad. So
there you go.
Here you go.
I knew he'd get me sooner or later, Joe.
He's got to.
So, Dad, you know the C major scale?
Yes.
C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. It's the easiest one. No accidentals.
No. What do they call them? No irrelevance.
No sharps or flats.
No sharps.
No sharps or flats.
No black keys.
Yeah.
No what now?
No black keys.
Right.
Yeah, but I know. But there's something else you call it. No irregulars or something like that. I can't think of it right now.
No accidentals?
Accidentals. That's it, Joe. I knew something there. No accidentals.
There it is.
I knew it.
So, I want to hear it from the master
just like
himself.
on a minor scale, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right?
Yeah,
right.
Actually, that's the next point.
That's
a
mode,
baby.
That's a mode.
So the minor scale is one of the modes. I'm not sure which one it is, but there's a bunch of
Aeolian.
What?
Aeolian.
Yep, there's Aeolian, there's Phrygian, there's a bunch of modes. Anyway, Fun fact, you don't really study modes until like Theory 4, and I only took up Theory 3, but I just did this. What I'm teaching right now is based on what I had to learn. So the trick is basically you're playing a scale in a different key. That's the kind of way, that's the best way to explain it. So if you were to play, say you play a G scale. A G scale, it just has an F sharp, okay?
Right.
But if you were to play it in one of the modes of whichever one. If you were to play it like C major, it would just be G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's one of the modes of G. It just plays it like a C scale. I just don't remember what the name of the mode is.
Let me explain it to Joe. Yes. Ho, ho, half, ho, 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 half.
Ooh. Yeah, but modes don't do that.
Ooh. So here's the way I explain it, Seth. Tell me what you think about this. Basically, the way I look at it is you're playing a scale of another key in, like, for the C scale, you're playing a regular C. If you play an F scale over a C, you're playing in the Lydian mode. If you're playing a G scale over the C, you're playing the Mixolydian mode. All it is you're going from C to C in that other scale, basically, right? That's the way that I kind of look at it. You're going from C to C in the other scale where you're adding the sharps and the flats. For everybody who wants to know about music theory, we got to do this. I have the music man here with me, right?
Right.
So the C scale is the normal scale. But if you were to say, okay, let me play it on D, but still following the shape of the C scale, that's the next mode. I don't know the order of the modes. I don't remember that. You don't study modes in high school for high school. You do. That was very advanced. Modes is like very advanced stuff. So
Astro Joe is no joke.
That was my interview question for you, Seth. I had to ask my interview question to see if Seth knew about modes and how he would explain them. So back to the podcast, Jay. Back to you, brother.
How did he do?
He explained it in layman's terms pretty well. I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him.
All right.
I know what modes are.
Okay. Somebody have to challenge him, Jay. We have to challenge him.
We got to do it, brother. We got to do it. So we're talking about when you decided to, you talked about when you changed majors in college at LSU. And we started talking about, okay, when did you realize that you're like, hey, I think band director may be something that I want to do? When was that epiphany? When did that happen to you, Seth?
Actually, kind of because at first for a while I wanted to just teach percussion for many years as my education. But really, I fell in love with being a band director when I started student teaching. So basically, student teaching, for those that don't know, is like an internship. When I was there, it was your last semester of college. They choose a high school for you.
I remember that.
You go to that, or elementary school, depends on what kind of teacher you want to be. I wanted to be a high school teacher. I went to a high school. So they talk to whatever teacher there that they have to do this class for to sign up for, and they are called a mentor teacher. So my mentor teacher was over at Dutchtown High School, which is Dutchtown High School is considered the best band in is considered the best high school band in Louisiana.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, by far. Zachary is very close up there, and just there's a bunch, but South Terrebonne is also always up there, but Dutchtown's been the top lately. And I went to Dutchtown to go student teach, and I got Sheely Bell as my director. And Sheely Bell is considered one of the best directors in the South.
Amazing lady. Amazing.
She's beautiful. Up there. She's up there in age, but she's still just a very, very wise lady. And she taught me a lot. And I only had one semester with her. I only had one semester to learn as much as I could. And I tell you, I learned as much as I could. I still implement a lot of her thought processes.
Go ahead.
I ended up doing my student teaching with Sheely for that semester, and that was my last semester at LSU. Here's the thing. I didn't even step foot on LSU's campus my last semester because I would have to get up early in the morning and be a teacher. I have to drive to Dutchtown, teach at Dutchtown, and then go home for the rest of the day. So I rarely stepped foot on campus that last semester. And Annalise had already graduated at that point as well. In psychology, clinical psychology. So at this point, I'm already got half a foot out the door at LSU.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what made me want to be a band director. It was just I loved student teaching, and I loved being on the podium. I used to be scared of being on the podium and teaching because I always used to tell myself what if I don't know what to do, or what if I don't know how to answer this question? And Sheely was just telling me, she's oh, you'll know. Because in order to student teach, there's an exam that you need to, there's a 2-part exam that you need to do. It's called the barrier. So at LSU, I had to take 3 barriers at LSU to get to graduate. The first one, you take the end of your sophomore year. That's basically a percussion barrier. That's when Dr. Dietz, the professor of percussion at LSU, decides is should you continue to study percussion and study music? And if you fail your barrier, they kick you out the studio. So I had to pass that first one at the end of my sophomore year. Then at what's it called? The end of your music education. So right before you student teach, there's 2 barriers you need to take. An interview. So all the music directors, they sit in the room and they have like a whole like thing, and they ask you questions from anything, any subject you've taken in class the past 4 or 5 years. They'll ask you that. So like you'll just be in there, and he's like, explain scaffolding to me, which is a terminology that you learned your freshman year, and it's 4 or 5 years later, and you have to explain it to him still. So I spent my entire first semester of my 5th year being drum captain and studying for that barrier. The second barrier was the fun one, because there was 2 parts to it. All of the kids taking the barrier exam were given a new instrument that was not their instrument, and you had to learn how to play it, and you were given a week to learn how to play it and they gave you music too, so you had to learn that music. And then when we actually got to the day, we would all be playing our new instrument, but one of us, and we would take turns, we had to teach everyone else how to play that instrument and play as an ensemble.
My.
So, you know what instrument I had to play, Dad?
What's that?
Cello.
Oh, my.
The cello. I had to learn.
My. Oh, yeah. Joe knows.
I think I did pretty good, actually. I remember oboe player was the girl, like the girl who had to play oboe was struggling a lot. The guy who had to play saxophone was struggling a lot. But me on cello and my friend Chris on violin, we were nailing it. We were hitting everything.
Hell
That's what I'm talking about.
Not because it's an easy. Oh my God, was cello a difficult instrument? Not because the strings are also different. It doesn't do it like a normal bass guitar or a guitar or anything like that, or even a violin.
Right.
It has all 4 strings are different.
It's a different tuning. I think they're tuned in fifths, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I think they're tuned in fifths.
It was like A and then B, and then it was weird. It's been a while, but like I remember having to play cello, and that was fun.
Yeah.
And then I had to go up and teach. So after learning all of that, I had to go up, and they said like, okay, can you teach these first 20 measures? And you have a 5-minute timer on the clock. And they show you the timer, so you can see that timer in the background the whole time.
You're like, how am I going to do this?
And this is all before student teaching. And then after that, I was told, once I passed my barrier, I was told, okay, you're going to Sheely Bell. She's the best band director in the South. Good luck. And I'm like, So, and then Sheely, the way she does her method is she gives you a week. The first week, you watch her teach. After that, she throws you to the wolves. She makes you teach her beginning band and her top like wind ensemble band, which had some high school kids that were better than me.
Took you out of the percussion, the drumming side, and made you teach in another area.
To teach
okay.
bands. And I learned. That's where I got all my learning, was on that podium. Because you learn what to do, you learn what not to do. But what gave me the confidence to be on that podium was I would listen and I'd be like, hey, I know what's wrong. And not just that, I know how to fix it. So I was like, I hear a clarinet be flat, and I'm like, hey, you're flat, so you need to raise your jaw up a little bit, and that's how you do it. And that's where you get the idea of space. So here's the thing. The more space noise has to travel, the deeper it will go. The less space, the higher it will go. So if you have a trumpet that's playing very flat, you got to push those tuning slides in. If you can't, fix your jaw, because the more space, the more time you travel, and it makes the sound.
I never even thought of that. Okay.
Yep. So that's how you fix tuning. That's why bands always tune horns like before they play, so they can hear like, okay, am I sounding flat? Am I sounding sharp? Do I adjust this? Do I need to adjust my mouth? And then they play.
When I come to visit in the fall, Joe's going to want to come to be a guest speaker in your class. I know that's what's going to happen now.
I'm happy to do it, brother. Sign me up.
You got like 5 tests that you need to pass before you can do that.
Wait a minute. I have to just pass the Seth test. I thought that's the only test I need to pass. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, but Joe can pass everything, man. He's legit. He's Texas A&M, but he's legit.
It's more like
something like that.
Go ahead, Joe. Joe, you had a question, I think. Go ahead, brother.
Well, my question for you was this, Seth. is that so now like you know about all the instruments. You started out in the percussion, you know about everything. So if I understand this correctly, one of your hobbies is composing, right?
Yeah.
So how do you have a piece? What's a piece that you've implemented, or have you implemented a piece, or what are the challenges you have from making your own arrangements for a whole band, not just the percussion, but the whole band? What do you do? How do you do this? How do you approach this?
Well, arranging I feel is a lot easier than composing because composing is
Yeah,
coming up with original thought and original
two
idea.
different things. Yeah.
But the thing is, I've never published anything. I didn't study
Mm-hmm.
composition in college, so I just kind of use my own knowledge with that. Arranging, when it comes to arranging for my band, I know my students and I know what they can do. So when it comes to arranging for them, I find it very easy because like I know the range of where a trumpet player should be able to play at what level they should do. And once you know all of that stuff, it helps. And then you should also know like articulative style. Like you're not going to give a beginner trumpet player telling him to double and triple tongue this one part, which is taka 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 taka.
Right.
So you don't want to do that. Like it's just understanding that. That's what helps me with arranging. So knowing not just knowing your students, but knowing the skill levels and knowing your
Right.
students.
Yeah.
Composing is a different question because I always ask myself, who are you composing for? And then
Right.
it's like, well, I'm not really composing for anyone. I'm composing for me. I just want to write something. But the biggest issue you can ever come across with composing is hating your own composition. And not just
Mm.
that, having someone that you feel like, how would this person react? So, like, it's actually kind of funny. Whenever I compose something, I have Sheely Bell in the back of my mind saying, why would you write that? So I've composed a couple things. I've never published anything. I've finished a couple, but just like it's just for me, really. It gives me ideas as well. Like when I compose something, I'm like, oh, hey, I really like this. Maybe when we do this, so like for example, I was writing this piece a couple months ago, and I had a very very flourishing horn part in it, and I'm like,
Mm.
hey, you know what I can do? We have this new third down piece that we play every third down at the football games. It's based on Phantom of the Opera. I'll just like very quick da 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 da. And I thought, what if at the end when they hold it, I add a rest? So da 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 da, and right when they during
Mm.
that rest, right before it, the horns scoop a note like to go even further. And
I
that's
love it.
just little things like that give me ideas. Once I did that, that's how I got into just kind of arranging. Like basically everything for the band that we play over here at Wray has been arranged by me, most of it at least, and just coming up with ideas from stuff. Or I'll listen to something, I'm like, or I'll be like, hey, I heard this college band play this at this game. I like that. Maybe I can write like a watered down version because it's a little too hard for them. And
Yeah.
that's how we got Dies Irae for our band.
Brother, I love it. I would say when you're composing, you need to go compose it and just go for it. You already know the level of the skill level of the people that are around you, and
The
of
students, yeah.
the capability of the students. You just got to go for it, man. Just go ahead and publish something, man. There's no need to hold back. That's part of the creative process, like I like to say. So, uh, but yeah, if it's something you have a passion for, which I know you do, you got to just go for it, man. There's no need to wait. Just go for it.
And Seth, I got to tell you, Joe writes a lot of songs, and he's probably got hundreds in that he's done and created himself, and he'll bring them to life every now and then. And it's really amazing what he's able to do. And he'll play several of the instruments with it. And if he gets excited about something, he'll send it over to me, and I'll listen to it. I'm just amazed at what he produces half the time. But I do remember when you were at LSU, I thought, if I remember right, I think you created some drumline, some riffs that y'all did on the drumline that y'all incorporated. Am I right there? Or
So drum captains at LSU write everything that the drum line plays. So in
Mm,
2022,
okay,
everything that we
I thought Joe would like to hear this.
so
definitely, I love it.
drum captain, me, Caleb, and the teacher of the drum line, they call him the tech. His name's
Drum
Ty.
tech, yeah,
So
wonderful
me
guy.
wrote
Yeah.
everything that the drum line played, everything in 2022. So yeah, I wrote stuff that we played on the hill. I wrote stuff that we played on during the halftime show in Tiger Stadium. I wrote stuff that we played in the stands, just stuff like that.
Joe, he would come to visit during the summer or something like that, and he would be working on things for them to play in the fall.
I'd be writing.
And it would be really cool. Yeah, he would be writing the whole time in his room, and then he'd come out and he would be like, Dad, Miss Becky, y'all come listen to this. And he would play it on his computer to us. And I'd be like, how the hell did you do? Man, that's pretty damn good, you know? And it's pretty parallel to what Joe will send to me every now and then. So I always have kind of flashbacks when Joe sends something, because it reminds me when Seth was doing it 2, 3, 4 years ago.
No, man.
Just cool stuff.
I got a full archive of stuff, and I'm sure you do, Seth. So it's something eventually you got to bring it out of the archives and share with everybody. But I mean, I know that of course you love music, but I know you're also into a couple of other things such as cooking and golf. Mm-hmm. So how do these hobbies? They're quite different than music. How do they fit into your creative outlet or stress relief? Or tell us a little bit about these things.
So during COVID, we were in quarantine, of course, and I lived with Dad and Miss Becky for a little bit, but I really wanted to go back to Baton Rouge. So in May, I moved back, and I lived alone actually from May till August because all my roommates weren't there, and I got like a quick little job working at Cane's, Raising Cane's.
Oh yeah. One of my favorites.
What I needed to do was like, I would either spend money on like getting food out somewhere or like cooking some like very like crappy like meals ready to eat stuff like that that you get from the store. So I just like went on YouTube and just started watching just like hundreds of different cooking videos, and I just taught myself how to cook. And it was the perfect time because during COVID, I couldn't talk to anyone. I couldn't see anyone. So what other better time for me to experiment around and just started cooking, learned that it helped me save a lot of money. And I've been cooking ever since. It's relaxing for me. So my thing is like, I heard one person say like, well, why don't you want to, because I love cooking so much. Why don't you want to go to like school, or why don't you want to work in a restaurant business? And I'm like, because cooking is relaxing. I like music, and I allow myself to stress out about music.
Right.
I will not allow myself to stress out about cooking.
No.
It is like an escape from me. Because look, I love music to death, but you can both vouch for this. There are some times you're just like, I just cannot listen to anything right now.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's so true. No, you gotta have something, Seth, that it's just a getaway. I mean, sure, you can become a professional chef or a cook or a professional golfer or whatever else, right? But you have to have something that just like, I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it just for myself, for my own mental clarity, to get me away just for half an hour, or whatever it is when you're immersing yourself in that. So there's something to be said for that a lot of people don't think about, that you just have to have something for that. Maybe it's music, maybe it's cooking, maybe it's golf, maybe it's Lego, right? Like you used to do, right? As a kid, right? So
Legos are. Hey, I still have. So real quick, I actually still cook every week, and I cook for Annalise and I every week, and I still love doing it. And she loves my cooking, which is also nice. But you mentioned Legos. Legos are too expensive, but I actually have a big Lego Death Star.
What?
Lord have mercy.
And it was a couple $100, but I saved up for it and bought it. But I remember, so my beginning band, as a little gift for them, we played like a little beginning band version of Star Wars, like the main theme. And they played it very well. And I had offhanded mentioned that I had the Lego Death Star at one point, and they bothered me the whole year to tell me, bring it to class. And I'm like, no, that thing's fragile. So during the concert, I hid it under the podium. And right before we played it, I made a mention to the crowd, like, oh, by the way, here's this. And the kids freaked out. So they all loved seeing that.
Amazing, bro.
And I changed the lights to be red, blue, and green for them. So it was fun.
Now, I know you see that background behind Joe, right?
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Quick little story, Jay and Seth. Jay, I know you're a connoisseur of all the old school TV shows. So
absolutely.
When I was in band, I was only in band from the 6th grade to the 8th grade. And that's where I learned a little bit about music theory and so on. But one of the songs we played, we had a band director, credit to Seth and future band directors out there. We played the theme from Dallas, the TV series Dallas.
Man, yeah. Right.
He's talking about the theme from Star Wars or the Death Star or whatever else. I'm thinking of the theme of Dallas. That's what I played as a kid. That was the hottest show at the time, in the early 80s when I was coming of age, just like you were at the time way back then. So I always think of my band directors at the time. They were pretty inspirational, and they played that, the theme from Dallas. We Got the Beat from the Go-Go's was another song we'd always do. We'd always do the song On Broadway. The city streets
George Benson.
Right on Broadway.
George Benson.
Yeah. All
George
that,
Benson.
bro.
Yep.
So I always remember my band directors from that because they were the ones who chose the music. So I still remember my band director's name, all the experiences I had for those 3 years. I only did it for 3 years, not as much as you did, Seth. And it was a huge influence on me, just even from music listening. Like I would have probably never listened to On Broadway, right?
Right.
Or I'd have never tried to figure out, what key, the theme from Dallas was. Whether you know it or not, you're making a huge impact on these kids, and I think they're going to remember you for all the things you're doing, whether you know it or not. I'm sure you know you're having an influence on these kids, and maybe you might be the next Mr. Wicks for any of these kids.
Yeah.
And that's a huge privilege and responsibility, I think, that you have, and you're sharing with your passion and your talent, and you may inspire the next person to become a musician, become a creative person like yourself. So I just want you to know, in my opinion, what you're doing is a service not only to yourself and your passions, but you're able to inspire people. And there's something to be said for that. And there's no price that can be put on that, but you are setting the bar for all of the students in your class, just like they did for you. All your band directors did for you. You're doing the same thing. So there's something to be said for that. And I tip my hat to you for that, for doing all that.
Thank you. Those are really good. Really, really nice words. And I wish other people shared that same mindset about music as well, especially with music education. One of the schools in our league, they actually just canceled their entire music program and everything.
Freaking shame, man.
And it's just like they just stopped giving all funding. They didn't hire a new person over there, and they just completely cut it. Our neighbor school and rival school, Yuma, they just cut their choir program. It seems like my program right now is one of the few that's like really thriving, and is not under any threat right now of going anywhere anytime soon in my league, which is nice to know.
Well, Joe,
there's something to be said for this.
Yeah.
There's something to be said. I'll just say this one real quick, Jay, then I'll pass it back to you, is that
please.
The arts and creativity and just thinking, one of the things that I was talking to Jay about this with you before is like, credit to Jay and for both your parents for this. Is like the first thing that people think of is like, oh, I want my child to be an attorney, a doctor, an architect or something else. Nobody says, I want my son to be a music director or an artist or something of the creative arts, right? Like, I want to make sure that they're taken care of. But there's a balance between being a creative person, whatever the outlet is, whatever you associate it with, an artist or a musician or somebody who contributes to the arts in general. They also make a contribution to society, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not the same. It's not something that can be necessarily monetized, but the influence that you have with people, you're inspiring people to think differently and to just approach things in a different way. And I don't know how you monetize that. I mean, I don't know how you monetize happiness and inspiration, but that's something I want to say that you do, Seth. And I want you to know that. And I want you to always think that. And I think that you have that mentality to approach things that way. And I'll get off of my little soapbox. And sorry, Jay, you go for it back again, bro. But that's just how I feel about the whole thing, because I've seen it from both sides, from the business side and from the creative side. And I, of course, prefer the creative side. If I could just be 100% creative like you are, Seth, I would so go for it. I would so go for it.
So actually, I remember you were mentioning right there just about like the business side or the money side or do what like makes you. I mean, like, here's the thing. I've worked at a job that I made really, really good money, but I hated it. And
there you go.
It was the job I had before I came here to Wray. I was teaching music at a school, and it was just the community wasn't supportive of music. The students didn't care about it. I was miserable going there every day. But here's the thing, I was getting paid very well to work there, and that's where I kind of learned that just like you could be making a lot more money, but not be happy at all. And I'm not getting paid as much as currently. I'm not getting paid as much over here, but I'm so much happier over here with the knowing like I got great job security. I'm guaranteed a raise every year and stuff like that.
Love it, bro.
Not just that, like I love working with these kids every single day. Like I did not have a single point throughout the year where I just woke up and I'm just like, I just don't want to go. Like I felt like I woke up every single day. I'm just like, I can't wait to teach these kids.
Seth, as far as I'm concerned, brother, Joe, you're living the dream, bro. You're living the dream. Go ahead, Jay.
One thing I'll say is going back to when Seth was making this decision is I told him, I said, it's not what you're doing. It's if what you're doing makes you happy. Because if you're doing something that makes you happy, you're more likely to be successful at it.
Yeah.
And if you're successful at it, good things will happen. Just trust the process. And I think that's what he's done, which will help us transition into what I'd like to go into next, is that Seth's graduated at LSU. His girlfriend at the time and his wife now, Annalise, has graduated LSU. They got married, and he was at a job that, wasn't quite what he thought it was. And he started looking, and we had a lot of conversation during that time, and his mother did with him too, supporting him as well, his stepfather, and, my wife, Becky, and Becky talks to him a lot about cooking. And so we had a lot of conversation, and Seth just started, and I've always told Seth from the beginning, I'm like, son, explore, get away, look beyond Louisiana, look beyond LSU, look beyond, go find yourself. And he he started his job search and ended up with a major opportunity in Wray, Colorado. And my first response was, where the hell is Wray, Colorado at? I know Denver and Pikes Peak and Colorado Springs, but where the hell is that? And so, I know we've been at this for a little while now, but Seth, give us a quick rundown on how this thing ended up in Wray and, which led to where he is now with, I can't begin to express how happy I think they are there right now. But go ahead, Seth.
Wray, Colorado is a couple hours east of Denver. It's kind of close to the Nebraska state line. It's just very rural communities. That's why a lot of people haven't heard of it. But it is a really nice community over here. But anyways, so while I was at my old job, I was looking for new jobs. Annalise and I had just been talking, and we were just like, what's a good place for both of our fields? And Colorado's music education system is in like the top 10. It might be top 5 actually now. But it was like Texas was number 1, but we didn't want to live in Texas. No offense. Absolutely no offense. We wanted to get away from the heat.
A lot taken, but go ahead.
No offense taken. Yeah,
to get away from the heat, I say as I'm in my 89-degree house currently.
Right. That's not hot. Go ahead. That's not hot. That's cold.
So
go ahead, man.
But I started applying I went on like every job search site that I could find, like Indeed, or there's a couple others that I used, but like I can't remember like LinkedIn and stuff like that. And anytime I saw like job opening for music teacher of any kind, I'd throw my application and add it and my resume. And a lot of people actually, they would call me and say like, hey, you got like a good thing, but like you're not from here, is what I got a lot of. And I had someone tell me, I remember being on the phone with someone once, and they told me like, hey, yeah, like your resume looks really good. We have these 3 Colorado people that we want to interview first, and if none of them take it, then we'll interview you. And I said, get rid of my resume.
How about that, Joe?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna get treated like that. Because that's all I needed to know. Like, if I was going to go work at that school, that's all.
No, you're like the fourth choice. No, that doesn't work.
Not just fourth choice. It was if these 3 don't take it, we'll give you a chance. It wasn't like anything like that. It was just
no.
Right.
In that case, Seth, it's on them. It's not on you, right?
Oh.
It's not on you. Why would you want to expose yourself to that situation anyway, right? Like I'm the last of the last choice. Yep. Oh yeah, thank you for throwing me the scraps, right? So no, thank you.
More on that in a bit, actually. More on that in a bit because there's more to that story. But 2 schools ended up giving me a chance, actually. Liberty High School, which I actually met their band director, got a lot of respect for her, and Wray. And I interviewed for both on the same day, actually. You got your shirt now. So I interviewed both of them for the same day, and it was at Liberty. I was interviewing to be the assistant band director, and at Wray, I was interviewing to be the head band director. And I actually found this out later. I didn't get the job at Liberty. There was another Colorado person, but I still have a lot of respect for their program and their director as well, because they at least gave me a chance was the thing.
Sure.
But Wray, I actually found this out later that 3 other people applied, so I was still the 4th person that applied for that job. But my boss, my principal at the time, John, who did the interview, they interviewed me first. He loved my interview so much, apparently he didn't want to interview the other people.
Beautiful.
And the admin was like, we still need to interview them. But I got a call like 2 days later after my interview that I did on Zoom, and they said, like, we want to offer you this job. And they took a huge risk. Just this random dude from Louisiana comes over here to rural Colorado. He's not like, I'm not from here. It's a smaller community. People like, no one knows me. No one knows of me. Like, and honestly,
they do now though.
Oh yeah. I love the town. I've never felt so supported by an entire community for band. Heck, like my first month here, I had a guy call me. His mom had passed recently, and she wanted to donate something to the band. And he was like, what are you trying to do? I'm like, well, I know one thing I want to do is start a drum line here because we don't have one. I'm going to need new drums. And he's like, give me a number. I'm like, sir, new drums are a lot of money. Give me a number. All right, okay. 15,000 is roughly what I would need for brand new drums, new gear, new apparel for it, all the stuff for the orderings and everything, and equipment. And I'm like, okay, that's like 15,000. I was expecting him to be like, oh God, oh, maybe I'll help to that. No, I got a check the next day for $15,000 to buy drums.
That's amazing, brother.
Next day. So yeah.
That's amazing.
Heck, other times I'll just send an email to John like, hey, there's this couple $1,000 marimba, but it could help out our program so much. And I'll get an email from him again, like right back. He's like, cool, I just took it out this place's budget that doesn't need it right now. Take it. So they basically told me any money that I need to spend for the betterment of the band, just let them know, and they will provide it for us.
Brother,
and Joe,
you're doing a service.
What I see there is they got full faith and confidence in Seth, or as they call him, Mr. B.
Yep.
You know?
Mr. B.
So my nickname from college is SB, so I continued that and just call me Mr. B. So that's what they call me. And actually, heck, I just made a $2,000 order the other day to buy they're called E-Flips. It's a digital music holder that you hook onto your instrument. You put your phone on it and read music while you're in the football stance. So
you can do it and flip it while you're doing it.
Yep. So it's just called an E-Flip. So say I have a trumpet, I have it right here. The phone stand is right here, so you can read it and still be in the stands. So I
remember seeing those at LSU when y'all played at LSU. I remember seeing kids doing that.
And LSU was one of the first bands to like kind of implement that. But those things are expensive. So I just bought enough for the whole band, plus extra, plus more for future use. And the school's like, cool, thanks, and they made the order. I was expecting
beautiful.
This. Usually, if it's over 1,000, you sometimes have to go to the school board about it. There's a certain limit. I don't know where that's at. So I was expecting to have to have a school board meeting about it, and I was making a list explaining the use of it, like, hey, it's meant to last this many years. If you're careful with them, the durability can last upwards of 10 plus years. The students will take care of them. This is the pros of having them. It replaces music folders, like basically explaining why it pays for itself. I didn't even need to do that.
So you see, Joe, that's part of the community having confidence in what he's doing and what he's accomplished so far in this past year. And I just think that's a great sign.
I needed to prove myself to these people, and I started going to football games and hosting. And then when we started having our Christmas concert and our spring concert, I was told this past year at the spring concert that it was one of the best concerts that most of them had ever attended at the spring concert. And we leave a little donation box on the side for us, and I got over $1,000 donated to the band. Just
wow, amazing,
crazy.
And continue.
I guess as we get towards the end of this thing, Jay, I know we got to wrap it up soon here. Yeah. I would say, just from my perspective, Seth, thinking about the journey so far, what's your one piece of advice you'd give your younger self, perhaps maybe the Seth starting out at Holy Cross High? What would you tell yourself? What's the one bit of advice you'd give to yourself? After all you've seen, learned, done, and everything else, for somebody else who's trying to take the same journey you are.
Just keep that drive. Don't lose it. That's the best thing I can say. Is just don't lose. I've almost lost that drive a couple times, but you see what keeping it has done for me. Just keep that drive. There will always be opportunities for you to drive and thrive further. So that's my biggest piece of advice I could ever give myself, is just don't lose that drive.
One thing I thought was outstanding, Joe, when he first moved there is, and I have to give this man props, is the head football coach, Coach Kramer. And when they first moved there, he had about 10 or 15 of the football players come over last July and help them move into the place that they were moving into from the U-Haul for free, and brought all the players out there, cornerbacks, linebackers, everybody. So I got to talk to the coach, got to know him pretty good over a day or two out there. He brought us on a tour of the school and told me how excited they were about Seth coming on board, and, just a leap of faith that the school board was taking and the school itself having Seth there. And what's the
there before?
Yeah. So what's the amazing part of this is Seth implemented some new things with the band at the football games and things like that. And guess what what team won the state championship in their division in Colorado? Wray High School.
I wouldn't know. Wray?
How about that? Wray High School, baby. So our last visit to Colorado a couple of weeks ago, I got to see Coach Kramer again. We went and had lunch together with Seth and his wife and my wife, Becky. And, man, it was just outstanding to see Coach Kramer. And I mean, I was almost misty with the compliments he was giving Seth and how much the community loves having him there and what he's put into the band and to the school and everything else. So it was just really a feel-good moment and a very proud dad moment for everything there.
Yeah.
So just a really cool thing. And I know I told you about this before, but I wanted to tell Seth about it because I was on the phone with Joe talking to him about it after we got home, man, and all Joe would tell me is, man, I can't wait to have the podcast, so good stuff.
Good. One of these too.
I sure did. So as we wrap it up here with everything, I know we've been going at it a couple hours, but man, it's been a lot of enlightening stuff here, and we learned a lot of things here. And Seth, I think I can speak for Joe. We're just extremely proud of you with what you're doing. And Joe's been keeping up with you the last couple of years, last 2-3 years. We've been friends, and we talk about you quite often. So, man, we're just very, very proud of you and what you're accomplishing there and teaching the young people and all that type of stuff. So, Joe, give me some last words, man, with everything going on here.
It's priceless, brother. Keep up what you're doing. I'm glad you are following the creative path. That's what I always say. People underestimate creatives. People don't always value what creative people like yourself share and bring to people, whether they become the knowledge you're sharing with people and the young people and the young adults as they become young adults, even if they don't become creatives or musicians or anything else, you're teaching them lots of lessons that they learn. And I don't know how you can put a price on that. So you get my commendations. Also, myself growing up in a small town, a lot like Wray, you are a big deal. You are a big influencer, whether you know it or not. Everything that you're doing makes a huge difference in the lives of these kids and their families. And I think if you continue to do on the path you're on, you're gonna be known in there for a long time. Just like you said about Mr. Wicks and everybody else, you're the next person who's gonna be on that list. So my commendations to you, brother. Congratulations. Keep on doing this. Do what you got to do.
Thank you.
Seth, any last words for us today?
I didn't think about any. I enjoyed being on the podcast, being able to talk for a little bit. Love being able to talk to some people that can understand music as well as I do.
Big Joe.
Teaching is what motivates me to stay and do everything that I like doing. It's just teaching is my passion. I'm in love, and so is music. And I'm gonna leave this on a quote. One of my favorite quotes I was ever told was from my music professor before I graduated, and he said, "My job is to teach, and that's first. The subject is music, but his first job is always being a teacher." And I just love that quote. So I had that part of my mission statement.
Man, I got a feeling that's going to show up on Astro Joe's Substack soon. I don't know, man. I don't know.
The Houston Hangout, baby. Houston Hangout.
That's it. Very good. Well, I appreciate it. Well, look, I want to thank my esteemed co-host, Mr. Astro Joe Garcia, and my special guest, Seth Boudoin, for being on the podcast today. This was awesome, fellas. You guys have been great. Don't forget, please subscribe or follow, depending on which venue you're watching or listening to the podcast, be it on my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or LinkedIn, Joe. We're all over the place now. It's always entertaining, and as a longtime friend of mine, and Seth knows him, Kevin Duck Prestenberg says, if it's free, it's me. And In the Pocket with J-Bo is a free service. And with that, we'll catch you on the flip side for the next episode of In the Pocket with J-Bo. Thank you.